My name is Bridgette Decent. I am here from the Office of Institutional Research, and we come to talk to you guys about the tools that we have in institutional research, some of the data that we have that might help you in your day-to-day work as you're either trying to figure out how to put data into grants or trying to figure out how to do administrative functions for your department. Basically, student enrollment information. We've got some faculty information as well. So I'm going to do a quick walkthrough today on some of our main tools. There's a lot of it. So the one thing that I want to encourage you to walk away with is I am here as a resource and my staff is here as a resource. So this is just exposing you to it. It's not, I don't expect you to walk away an expert knowing how to use all of these tools. We're here to help answer questions and we do it all day, every day, and we're happy to do it. So okay, first thing that you need to know about the Office of Institutional Research is we are sort of the official keepers of the university data. So that means, yes, you can always go into Banner and pull information and put it into an Excel spreadsheet. You can go into Argos and pull information out of Argos and put that into an Excel spreadsheet. But if you're doing any kind of official reporting for a survey or for a grant or for anything within the institution, always a good idea to use official Office of Institutional Research data. The reason for that is that we pull data twice a semester. So at census and at end of term. Census is the 14th day of the term, and then end of term is obviously after grades have been finalized and all of that. So we pull data twice a semester and we freeze it, and then we sort of archive it and use it as point in time data. And this is helpful because it gives us a chance to clean up the data. There's always going to be data anomalies with the live data system. Students go in and change their address and change residency, and majors get changed and all these kinds of things. And so we like to have that frozen data so that we can compare a point in time from semester to semester. It really helps out with doing some clean trend analysis. So most of the data that we deal with in institutional research, I would say 90% of our data is that census data or end of term data. It's that snapshot frozen data. So each time you come back to these dashboards, if you're looking at historical terms, it should all stay the same. You shouldn't be seeing different numbers every time you come look at it. The only different numbers that you should be seeing is if we update the data with new census snapshot data. So the next time it'll be updated will be fall end of term, and we'll include our fall grades and things like that. All right, so to get to the Office of Institutional Research, you are just going to go to the university's website. So there's here. And in the menu button in the upper right, fastest way to get to us is to click under this Research and Innovation. So just think Office of Institutional Research and go under Research, and we are the last one on straight here. So this will take you to our website. There's lots here. And poke around at your leisure. There is a way to go ahead and submit a report request if you've got like a complicated report that you don't know how to get from dashboards. I've got analysts that can help write programs and get the data that you need. But the main thing that I want to talk about today is this section right here for our Power BI dashboards. So this yellow button that says OIR Power BI, hover over it, there is a link called that says go to Power BI. And go ahead and click here. This takes you to our Power BI dashboards and our OIR Canvas reports. It's called an app, not really like an app on your phone, but it's Power BI calls it an app. And basically, anybody that is faculty or staff has access. That includes graduate assistants. So we assume that you have done your FERPA training and you are familiar with, responsible use of data. Everything in here should not be identifiable down to a student level, but if by some chance you manage to filter down to find, the one student of particular gender that's taking a class and you know who that student is, we expect you to treat that data responsibly and not do anything that's going to jeopardize student privacy. Okay, so when you get here, the first place that you land is the OIR Census Enrollment Dashboard. This is kind of like our main dashboard. It tells you enrollment trends over time of students who have registered for a class at the institution. And again, it's as of census, it's as of the 14th day. They'll kind of orient you a little bit to this dashboard. Over on the left-hand side is your main sort of report navigation. So we're under the enrollment section right here. There's all the different types of reports that we have about enrollments. We have census enrollment, and then we also have a daily enrollment tracker, and I'll show you that in a second. We have a section for student success. That's going to include things like retention and graduation rates, grades awarded, grade distributions, career outcomes, and then this is new, our first destination survey results. We also have a section on admissions, and so this includes things like the number of students who are applying for your programs, the number who have been admitted, the number who are enrolling, so sort of that funnel, application funnel tracking. Then we also have a section on, we just call it academic units. I think these are kind of reports that are particularly useful for administrators. So that could either be people provost level, or it could be deans, associate deans, department heads. So it's things that are kind of helping you look at programs as a whole and tracking them over time. And then we finally down here at the bottom, we have a section on peer institutions. This is less helpful for colleges because we can only compare peers at a university level. We only have data sets that allow us to compare at a university level. Okay, so I'll come back up here to the top. So right now we're on our census enrollment dashboard. The middle of the dashboard is, of course, the dashboard itself. The right-hand side of the dashboard contains filters. Anytime you have a filter selected, it gets highlighted in yellow. So let's say that I only wanted to focus on graduate students. I could come to the program level and click on graduate. You can see the dashboard changes. And now I'm looking at graduate level enrollment over time. To undo a filter, you can always click on the little erase button at the top of the filter. It's the clear filter. If you've done a lot of filtering and you don't want to go through each one of them to undo it, my favorite button at the top of the report is this little backward spacing arrow that resets all of the filters and displacers and any other data changes that you've made. This is particularly helpful if you're looking at the dashboard and you're seeing something that's alarming that you know is not right and doesn't seem right. Chances are good that you've got a filter on somewhere and you just don't realize it. So just go ahead and very first thing, click this reset button, and it will reset, because Power BI does remember all of the filters that you selected even after you leave the session and come back to it later. It puts cookies in the background, and so it remembers the filters that you had chosen before. Okay, so on the main enrollment overview page, we have information on headcount, total credit hours, average credit hours, student FTE. We break it down by career level, by degree seeking status. And then down here, we have the ability to drill down into particular colleges. And then from colleges, we can go into departments. And then from departments, we can go into degrees. And within degrees, there are majors. And then within majors, there are concentrations. Which one of these have concentration? Yeah. So it's a hierarchy. So you start off with the college, go to the department, and you go to the degree, and you go to the major, and you go to the concentration. All of those filters are over here on the right-hand side. So college, department, degree, major, and concentration. We do also have information on minors. Minors are not actually attached to a college or a department in Banner, so we just pull the minor and hope that you know what your minors are. So it takes a minute for it to load, and then it just comes up in alphabetical order. Okay, I think that's the basics of this page. One other thing that I wanted to show you, if you hover over a visualization on the top right, there's going to be these three dots. Click there. It gives you the option to export the data. You can export it into wanted to data with the current layout. And you click on the export button, and it will go into Excel. And so you can just open it up and it will come into Excel, and you have the information, and if you are more comfortable with clicking and dragging, or if you need to export it for a report or something like that, it makes it easier to have. Okay, so we have basic enrollment overview information. We have information on student origin, so where did your students come from? So you can see top 25 high schools, where they came from, top 25 previous institutions. Also see enrollment in Tennessee counties, where are non-resident students coming from, and then what's the change in student origin year over year. We also have information on student characteristics, so race and gender, age category, full-time, part-time status, what class levels, are you freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, first generation, Pell status, veteran status. We have some basic information on what is your average high school GPA, average freshman ACT composite score, and then GRE scores. I'm going to go ahead and skip year-over-year growth, because that's more like a dean question, and look at course enrollment. So course enrollment, it's not course. There's different things to count. So we can count students, that's head count. We can count course enrollment, that's enrollments. And then we can count credit hours. That is the student credit hours that a student is taking as part of their courses. So this visualization sort of shows you all three of those. They're unduplicated by the measure. And so what that means is if you have a student who is taking 3 courses in the College of Education, they're counted one time under head count. So that's 14,802. They're counted 3 times under enrollment, that's 3,422, and then each of their student credit hours for their courses is counted. So that kind of gives you an idea of unique students, unique classes, and then total credit hours. So you can look at this over time. You'll notice on the bottom there's a horizontal scroll bar, so you can always scroll over to the right to catch the latest term. So you can see fall of 24. College of Education, 1,081 students, 2,414 enrollments, and 7,000 credit hours. You can also, where you see this little plus, of course, you can drill down further into that. Again, it's a hierarchy, so you have your college, then your department, then your prefix. So this is your course prefix. Underneath the course prefix, you'll have the course number to find where it goes. The course number, I think it also goes down to the actual section as well. Again, you can export this information by clicking this export data button right here. The other thing that I want to show you real quick is, let's say that you need this information, but right now we have the fall 21. But you need this information for the whole academic year. You don't have to follow this up. You can actually change this visualization by clicking on a button up here. It's called Personalize This Visual. So it looks like a little bar graph, and it's got a little bar graph and a pencil in front of it. When you hover it over it, it says Personalize This Visual. Go ahead and click there. And it tells you right now what is in this data table. So right now we have, in the rows and then the columns, we have semester and year. So instead of having semester and year in column, I want to have academic year in the column. So I'm going to go ahead and click this little arrow right here, and I'm just going to search for year. And what comes up is this thing called academic year right here. I'm going to go ahead and click on academic year. And you can see now the column says academic year. And so I can go ahead and click now. So I see from the fall, it's changed to 21-22. If I look up here in my filters, I see I still have it filtered for fall. If I erase that, it's going to include fall, spring, and summer. collect fall, spring, and summer to make myself do better. It has fall, spring, and summer in it now. And so now you can see total credit hours are 14,000. 1,400. Headcount is 1,400. Enrollment is 5,440, and then student credit hours is 16,000. So you can see it's a much larger number than it was the last time when we were looking at just the fall semester.
Is there any reason for our course not to show up?
If it is a second part of term course and you don't have it filtered for end of term, it might not be here. Because your choices are either census or end of term. If it is a zero credit continuing ed course, it might not show up. And if there are only audit students in the course and no students earning it for credit, it might not show up either. Are you missing a course?
Yeah.
If you want to email me, I can check into it for you and see what's going on. Hopefully, it's just a matter of looking for it in the right place. But it's a live system. We're always finding anomalies and things like that. And I depend on everybody who's actually using the system to help me find those and get them corrected with the registrar and get things coded the way that they need to be coded to show up for data. Okay. The other tool or visualizations that are on here, we have information about student major changes. It's the chord chart. It's kind of difficult to read. I'm going to reset everything. I don't think it likes my filters. It's just basically saying where do the students go after changing their major. So let's say you want to know where students are going after they leave the College of Education. And they're leaving the College of Education and going to, let's say, health sciences. What are their majors? Well, that was a bad one. They College of Arts and Science. And so you can see here, if they are leaving, they are usually going from teaching all learners, and the majority of them are going over to English. Another big chunk is going over into psychology. Another chunk is going over history. So this just kind of tells you where are students going who are leaving your college. And you can do it the opposite way as well.
Is that just undergrads?
This is everybody, but we can filter it to look only at undergrads. So this is undergrad. Usually graduates are not changing their majors too much.
Right. That's what I was hearing. Yeah.
Okay, we also have something on here called Create Your Own. And basically it's just that use of the personalization feature. So sometimes you might need a data table that's laid out for in a certain way for a particular report that you're doing or grant that you're doing or anything like that. And so you would want to come here to create your own in order to get it laid out the way that you want it to be. So again, you'll just click on, you'll first filter the data the way that you want it. So select your population. So let's say you're interested in undergraduates in College of Education in ICL. So that's your population that you're dealing with. And then you want to go ahead and click on personalize this visual. And then under here, you just choose your rows and columns that you want to show up. So let's say that you're wanting a report of students enrolled by race and sex. So under the rows, we'll go ahead and click the arrow and we'll search for race. That. And then under columns, okay. Now, the other thing that you have to pay attention to is all of the semesters that you have selected. So this is everything in the last 5 years. If you're only looking for a particular year, you'll want to make sure that you filter for just that 1 year. So this is fall of 2024, females and males by race. And again, you can come up and export this data by clicking the 3 dots and then export data. Okay, so that's the census enrollment information. That's your official data that's used for reporting and seeing trends of students who are enrolled in courses that are enrolled. We also have something called the daily enrollment tracker. This is a dashboard that is not a census dashboard, but it's a dashboard that updates every day as into that by the name, daily enrollment tracker. And yesterday was the first day of registration for the spring. So this dashboard is showing registration for spring for this year compared to last year. While last year on this date, registration had not yet opened for spring. So that's why it's saying blank. When we catch up to where last year it did open, you'll see numbers here and you'll be able to see the difference between this year and last year in terms of the numbers of students registered for the upcoming semester. So we're 71 days from the start of the semester. So far, we've had 3,949 students register. It breaks it down into undergraduate law and graduate. Again, over on the right-hand side, we can filter down to the College of Education. And we have headcount, FTE, and then credit hours. That information. They also have here information by program. So this is where you can see comparing each program and degree level, the number of students registered today, registered last year, today. Once you have data in last year, it will calculate the year-over-year percent. You can see, are you trending ahead, are you trending behind where you were. Tells you the top 15 programs that have been registered so far, tells you registration by online status, and then this will tell you the percentage of students who are currently registered, who have registered for next year. Okay, the other thing that we have on here is daily by course, and this is helpful because once we actually have data in here, once we have data in here on last year, this will populate and it will tell you which courses have wait lists. So if there are students who are wanting to take a course but it's full and they're signed up on the wait list, you'll have wait list data here. It'll also tell you the enrollment compared to the capacity. I think because it just opened and there's not data populating in cells where it should be, you've got some infinities and blanks here, but we'll check into that and get that working again. We also have information that can help out with schedule planning. Basically, you would want to export this into Excel and do all of your filtering and sorting, but it's a way that you can see your online courses, their enrollment today, the capacity, number of classroom seats, the building in the room, the part of term, and then the course title. And again, like I said, this updates every day, so you can track to see what's changing as you get closer to the spring semester. It's helpful to know if you might need to open up sections or close sections, especially this data table up here. So we'll get that updated. So our next section down here is student success. So how can you want to know, doing all this hard work to teach these students, how are they doing? So we have a retention and graduation rates dashboard. And the way retention and graduation rates typically work in higher education is that it uses a cohort of students. So usually those are first-time, full-time freshmen, and it looks to see their students a year later, 4 years later, 6 years later. So did those students retain earlier? Are they still enrolled at the university? Did they graduate 4 years later, or did they graduate 6 years later? So we do enable that kind of tracking. So I get the filters on here earlier. Let me recycle. So right now you're looking at new first-time freshmen who began full-time, and then here's the head counts of those students. So For fall 2024, you can see we have 1,929 students who began as new first-time full-time freshmen. Fall 23, that number was 2,535. Fall 22, that number was 2,322. When we get down to 4 years ago, so fall of 2020, you can see that 32% of those students who began with us fall of 2020 have graduated. So we say we have a 32% 4-year graduation rate. 6 years ago, those students who began in fall of 2018 had 50.8% of them have graduated within 6 years. And so we say we have a 50.8% 6-year graduation rate. Now, if you guys are interested in just the College of Education, come over here and you can filter to College of Education. And this includes those students who began in whatever year it was as new first-time full-time freshmen and whose latest major was in the College of Education. So they could have began as an undecided student, could have began as a biology student, they could have began as a business student. But if they then change their major to College of Education, they are counted in College of Education. Change their major College of Education and either stayed or graduated in College of Education or stopped out and their major was College of Education, that's where they're counted. So you can see numbers of students over time. The latest year is always going to be a little bit lower, so don't be alarmed with that, just because you haven't had time for students to change their majors and transfer into College of Education yet. But you can see your 4-year graduation rate. Latest one is 37.9%. Your latest 6-year graduation rate is 58%. A lot of colleges might get a little bit excited because they say, wow, my 6-year graduation rate or my 4-year graduation rate is higher than the university overall. Yes, that's true, but that's because if you're looking at the university overall, students who stop out, they're not put into a college. So your denominator then is larger when you're looking at the students overall than if you're looking at somebody in a college. So if you're going to compare your 6-year graduation rate, you need to compare it to another college, not to the university overall. Okay, so that's information on graduation rates. We also have information on retention rates. So retention is sort of like the path to graduation. So retention rates, yes.
For graduation rates, maybe you answer this when I stepped out, or how long it takes folks to graduate. Can you do that by graduate students?
Yes, okay, I should have talked about that. That's a great question. So we have this filter at the top here that says program entry type, and your choices here, they began as a new first-time freshman, they began as a new first-time transfer, or they began as a new first-time graduate student. And so if you want to look at graduate students, just select that one.
Okay.
And then you can get the information there.
Is it 8+?
I'm sorry.
Does it go more than 8 years?
This goes 8 years. If you need more than 8 years, you'll just call us up and let us know, and we can get that information for you. We have data going back to 2007, so
Okay.
Date it back that far. All right, so back to retention rates. So in retention rates, we are looking at students who retained 1 year, retained 2 years, retained 3 years, retained 4 years. That's at the university. We also have information on retained in college 1 year, retained in college 2 years, 3 years. And so that means that the student not only come back, but they stay within the college. There, I do have a filter for College of Education, and I'm looking at the first-time freshmen. So for fall of 2023, you had 78 of them either who began with or whose latest major was in the College of Education. 88.5% of them stayed at the university. Only 47.4% of them stayed in the College of Education. So lots of them are leaving. This 1 year, retained 1 semester just means that they come back from the fall to the spring. We also have information by cohort on what the current enrollment status is. So is it dropped out, enrolled in the same college, or graduated in the same college? There's also enrolled in a different college. So that's not showing here. The other pieces of information that we have on our graduation retention are graduation rate gaps. So this will kind of tell you, do you have equity issues between the graduation rates of your underrepresented minorities, non-underrepresented minorities, between Pell and non-Pell, and first gen and non-first gen status. We have retention rates by ACT. This is more for enrollment management than for academic department. And then we do have retention rates by course. So you can go find any course. What are y'all's prefixes start with?
I think APPR 2111. It's just, of course, I do.
Yep. So this will tell you that of the students who took PR in 2111 and fall of 2023, they had a 87.41 semester retention rate. They had a 77.31 year retention rate. 277 students were enrolled in the course, and their course success rate was 81%. We also have, you can look at their 1 semester retention rate in the blue and the 1 year retention rate in gray, to see if it made a difference by grade. So you can see there's a pretty big gap for those who earned a C, sizable gap for those who earned an F, and a sizable gap for those who earned a D. Not surprising. Okay. And then we also have information on retention rates by activity code. I don't know if you guys do any activity coding in Banner, other schools, some other like college nursing. So I'm going to go ahead and skip that. Okay. All right. Next section is important degrees awarded. So you need to find out how many degrees your college awarded. This dashboard. So I can put it and see. So I have 70 degrees. Or it's down a little bit from years. The fun thing about the degree year is that it's slightly different from the academic year. I don't know why it is. It's just federal and state reporting definitions. So the degree year runs summer, fall, spring. The academic year runs fall, spring, summer. So if you look at this, you'll see we have 8 students in the 2024-25 degree year. That's proposed to be graduated in summer. So it looks a little odd, but that's why. Okay, so this is actually filtered for undergraduate students right now. I'll go ahead and clear that out. And so your real number is 366. That includes your graduate students as well. Again, you can drill down. You can see, down to the individual concentration level, the number of students who have graduated. At one point, the university had a big push to get the Carnegie competition, and so that's why their quality ed is in social sciences or of all of and then it's the average hours earned at graduation. That's sort of speaks to how long it takes students to graduate. But there's also a button here that says time to degree. And so we have calculated out time to degree since entry at level. So since the student began as a graduate student, how long did it take them to earn their degree? And then since the student began as an undergraduate, how long did it take them to earn their degree? We also have earned degree since entry into the major, since oftentimes colleges cannot control what the students do before they get into their college. So this kind of helps you track those that time degree that you do have control over. And again, just like the enrollment dashboard, you can create your own using the personalized visual. We also have some information on grade distributions. Deans, associate deans, take a look at this. This is most helpful for exporting into Excel. It's just a data table, no helpful graphs or visuals. But you can look and see the number of A's, B's, C's, D's, F's that were awarded. It even gives you plus and minus grades if you're interested in those. And then at the end here, it does give you for seat question 9, which is that question on, I can't remember exactly what the question is. It's something like how satisfied overall are you with the teaching experience? And so it gives you the number of responses, the average. This section, the average for the other courses that work might have been in different sections. The average for that course prefix, and then the average for the college students, this individual section. We also have information on course success rates. So if you are looking at college of education and wanting to see those courses with high and low success rates, I don't really see anything low that jumps out at me. Actually, so maybe this one. This one is the only low one that really jumps out at me. And so I'm sure you guys are aware, but if you're not aware, this is a good way to come identify those courses and sections that have the course success rate. We also have information on course GPA trends. So it's just a different way of looking at it. Success rate is anybody who earns an A, B, or C. A GPA kind of tells you a little bit more nuance in terms of is it a high B or a low B, that type of thing. We have information on student GPA. So what is student semester GPA? How is that trending for your majors over time? And then also on academic standing. So those number of students that you've got on probation and suspension and warning and good standing and all of that over time. Okay, so these next two dashboards are new. Career outcomes. It's kind of a neat dashboard to me just because the data source of it is from a company called Stepping Blocks, and it's actually Career Services that owns the software, but they're nice enough to share the data with me. And they get the data through scraping the web. So LinkedIn and resumes that are authored publicly and Facebook and social media and all other kinds of sites. They scrape the web in order to identify where students have gone to school and where they are currently employed, and what their current salaries are. And so we display that information here. And you can see college education. Over the last 10 years, they've been able to track 1,734 alumni from the College of Education. 75% of them are employed in the state of Tennessee. 64% of them are employed in the Memphis metropolitan service area. There is the average salary, so the number of years since degree. So obviously, first year afterwards, you're not earning much. By 10 years after, you're something like a bachelor's, master's, and doctoral. It tells you your top employers, top job functions, and then top job titles. So we have that information, and we also have it broken down into a data table format if you want to see the average salary between 1 to 3 years after graduation, 4 to 6 years after graduation, and 7 to 10 years after graduation. The other new dashboard that we have is our first destination survey. And so when President Hargrave got here a couple years ago, said, why aren't you guys doing a first destination survey? We'll get right on it. So We started doing first destination survey in 2023. Fall 2023 was the first year it was administered, first semester that it was administered to undergraduate students. Summer of 2024, we began administering it to graduate students as well. So eventually this will have both undergraduate and graduate data in it. And it's basically information that's going to that asks the student at the time that they graduate, what are your post-graduation plans? So it asks them essentially, do you have a job yet? So what's your expected salary? Where you can be employed? If they don't have a job at the time of graduation, we resurvey them 6 months after graduation to find out whether or not they have a job, what that job is, what their salary is. And then we display information here. So this data table on the top right tells you what data is included in here. So right now we have the initial and follow-up information from those who graduated in fall 2023. So we surveyed them once at the time of graduation, and then we gave them a follow-up survey 6 months later. For spring of 2024, we have data from the time they graduated, and we don't have results yet on the follow-up survey. It's still open. It will be open for a couple more weeks. So we're 6 months after May. Of those students who graduated in fall 2023 and spring of 2024, and who responded, we had 92 degree earners. That's 85% response rate. So 85% of our 92 degree earners responded. Of those who responded, there's a 56% successful career outcome. And so what do we mean by successful career outcome? That means anybody who is either applying to a post-secondary or accepted into a post-secondary graduate program, if they are employed or self-employed, if they are in the military, or if they are doing volunteer work. I think those are counted as, yeah, it's right here. Volunteer service commitment, military commitment, employed or accepted into post-secondary, it counts as a successful career outcome. If they are still seeking, or if they're not seeking employment, that is not considered a successful career outcome. So their average expected income is here. If we scroll down a little bit, we've got some details. So of those students who reported as employed or self-employed, the majority, 97% of them have a full-time job. 80% of them are in the Memphis area. Here it breaks down into the job type, so federal, nonprofit, an organization or a company, or other. And then whether or not their job is in their field of study. So we ask the student, say, is this job relevant to my degree? So they answer there. Keeping in mind, all of this is self-reported. This is the student answering at graduation these questions. So here's the top employers, top industries, occupational groups. And then down below, we have information on those who something they're going on to further education. So the number admitted or those who are applied and intending to enroll, the type of degree sought, and then these two are blank because not enough people responded, so the information is. We also have some information. We ask on the first destination survey some satisfaction questions. So undergraduate satisfaction and participation in high impact practices, basically. So of the students who graduated, here's your responses. Their overall University of Memphis experience satisfaction is a 4.39 out of 5. Would they attend University of Memphis again? Your average score on that is 3.34 out of 4. And this just kind of breaks it down into 4 responses. Start over, would you attend University of Memphis again? 51% said definitely yes. 34% said probably yes. How satisfied are you with your overall experience? 7% are very satisfied. 28% are somewhat satisfied. We have a section of high impact practices. So 60% of these quality education undergraduate students had at least one impact practice. This includes things like internships, learning communities, research, senior project, service learning, and study abroad. And what's on those? We also have 2 sections on the survey that ask about satisfaction with advising and satisfaction with user experiences. So please rate your satisfaction with each of the following aspects of your advisor. So that's your average score, and here's the breakdown of those. And then if your satisfaction with the following aspects in this major student your experiences. Average satisfaction with your experiences 4.2, and the breakdown of each one of those. And you just have raw numbers and that's raw numbers, right? Okay, rolling right through it. Admissions information. So not often, but sometimes you guys are asked, what is your application status for your students who are coming in, particularly at the graduate level. That's more in the purview of the colleges. Undergraduate tends to be more centralized with undergraduate admissions. So you can come to our daily application dashboard. Again, daily, this updates every night. And you can see the number of students who have applied, admitted, and enrolled as of today for the upcoming year. So we're looking at, we're 287 days away from fall of 2025. And if I go ahead and filter this to the College of Education. And this includes all this includes all levels. I have it filtered to freshmen, so let me go ahead and undo that filter. So right now you guys have 211 applicants for applications for fall of 2025. This time last year you had 151. The year before that was 125. You've admitted 102 so far. 57 last year and 80 the year before. And obviously none of them have enrolled yet because registration hasn't opened for fall of 2025 yet. Most of the other parts of this dashboard, you can also drill down into individual programs if you're interested in seeing that, or use the filters on the right-hand side. We've got degree, department, concentration, and major as well. Most of the other stuff on here is pertinent for enrollment management, so I'm not gonna go over that. We do have some information on the characteristics of your applicants, and so that's your filters up here. Are you looking for anybody that's applied? Are you only wanting those that are admitted? Are you wanting those who are enrolled and not enrolled? So right now it's filtered to look at only those people who are admitted, and you can see what are their test scores, what high schools are they coming from, what are the previous institutions that they're coming from. We also have information just broken down by student type. So are they freshman transfer or graduate students? In the academic units, this is a dashboard Provost Romano asked us to create. This is an academic program vitality dashboard. He gave us the metrics that he was interested in tracking for each of the programs across the institution. These metrics include things like head counts and number of student majors enrolled, degrees awarded in the most recent year, 3-year degree awarded average. That's because what TX measure of producing looks at is the 3-year average of awarded. Something called a replacement ratio, which is just the number of students enrolled divided by degree awarded. Your 1-year retention rate at the university, 1-year retention rate in the major. And then looking at the first destination survey data, percentage of students with the career outcome, percentage who are employed, what their expected income is. 10% who are going into post-secondary education 1 year after graduation. We also bring in from the Tennessee Department of Labor the expected 10-year job growth that's the program. Keep in mind, there's some limitations with mapping Department of Labor SOC codes to education zip codes. There is a crosswalk out there. Yeah. And then on programs, sometimes it's more germane than others. And some actions that are in some programs and then others. So we do provide you some information on what the program zip codes are and then how those map to Department of Labor occupations. So how it's to look at collective education and all learners vacancy, teaching all learners has a step that is special education and teaching, the definition, and then here's the occupations that it maps to. And so if you go on this program details page, you can find out basically trend information of all of the variables that were on the preceding page. So trend information on employment, on your program productivity, and on we also have a faculty and staff dashboard. So sometimes you're asked how many employees are at the university or in my department, or how many full-time faculty do I have, part-time faculty do I have. Institutional research captures this data once a semester, basically. So we have dates that coincide with our deadlines for federal reporting. So November 1st, April 1st, and July 1st are the dates that we capture for fall, spring, and summer. So we just captured for November 1st, and the dashboard has been updated so that you can see full-time faculty for fall of 2024, part-time faculty, number of graduate assistants. We can break it down by full-time and part-time, and by employee skill classification, kind of a HR classification definition. So are you clerical, faculty, graduate assistant, professional service. We also can break down by what division you're in, so academic affairs or business finance, and then drill down into college and department and so on and so forth into there. We do, by default, filter out those employees who are on leave without pay. So if you're expecting a number and not seeing it there, it's possible that maybe you have an employee who's on leave without pay, and the dashboard filters them out by default. The other thing is it's very important when a job starts and ends in Banner. If the job ended on October 31st, we're not going to pick it up on the dashboard. So sometimes people will be very adamant they had, 5 graduate assistants, but maybe one of them, their job ended before we captured the data, and that's why it's not showing up. So those are employee trend information, demographics. So obviously we break all of that down by race, sex, and age group, and we do have some specific information just for faculty. So breaking it down into full-time, part-time, tenure status, rank, and faculty demographics as well. We do have a teaching activity dashboard. The difference between faculty and staff and teaching today is that teaching activity says faculty for teaching course. So there's instructional faculty. And it's kind of geared towards looking at sort of efficiency. So it can include small classes. And so these were defined under the service. Dr. Nina, he identified small classes as undergraduate, lower division lecture allowed classes with less than 20 enrolled, undergraduate, upper division lecture allowed classes with less than 10 enrolled, or graduate lecture allowed classes with less than 7 enrolled. So this can give you an idea if any of those exist. Also provides information on capacity, so what percentage of seats are filled in particular classes. Gives some information on the most popular time of day, time and day courses, and then the number of section offered today. This is just a way to export all of the teaching information to Excel and just sort and filter it on your phone. And then, like I said, we have peer institution data, but it's not drillable to your college. So it's only at the university level. And that is the end. And I made it in 3 minutes. So I want to reiterate most of all that just email us. We're institutional research at memphis.edu, or pick up the phone and call me, or shoot me a Teams message. We're all very responsive. We're happy to help. We know this is not your day job. You know, if you come to look at this, it's probably once a semester and it's under extremely tight deadline. So we'll get you to the information that you're looking for. Mostly, I just wanted you to be aware of what's out there and know to call us if you have questions.
Thank you. I cannot believe. Yeah. Awesome.